Hello everybody, my name is Koubitz and I'm here to give you an expansive list of the very best mods out currently for Fallout 4. Whether you're new to modding or a veteran at the process, this video is designed to give you a whole variety of some of the very best mods that the Fallout 4 modding community has to offer. This mod list will no doubt transform your game into an experience with much more depth, variety, and many additional hours of content. If you're looking to stack up even more time than you already have in Fallout 4, this is the video for you. Also important to note, all of the mods included in this video can work well together. That said, feel free to pick and choose when going through this list, because modding is all about personal preference and tailoring your game to be as fun as it can be for you. As a quick note, for the purpose of this video, I'm going to stay away from visual mods because everyone has different PC specs, and thus everybody has a different level of visual modding they can do. However, I'll make sure to cover that topic in a future video soon. So with all of that out of the way, let's get into the mod list. First up, arguably the most impressive mod so far for Fallout 4, Sim Settlements completely overhauls the settlement building system while adding a massive amount of customization to the building experience. Modeled after the gameplay concepts of SimCity, this mod gives you the capability of building several types of plots that develop on their own pace, instead of you having to painstakingly place every single little specific item when trying to design your settlement. The plots included in this mod are as follows: residential plots, commercial plots, defense plots, industrial plots, and recreational plots. The meaning behind these various plots is self-explanatory. All of these plots have a variety of unique possible designs, and once a settler is assigned to one of these plots, they will begin building up their own house, farm, shop, and so on, all by themselves. Depending on how well your settlement is doing, these plots will transform into more and more impressive buildings and will subsequently provide better stats and bonuses to your settlement. Many different modders have created different designs for each plot, so no one settlement will look quite the same as another. If you want an even more hands-off approach to settlements, you can even install an expansion mod called Rise of the Commonwealth that allows you to assign a companion to oversee the evolution of a particular settlement location. Over time, as you help meet the needs of your settlement, it will transform from small and pathetic to huge and impressive. More broadly, Sim Settlements as a whole provides settlers with the ability to be more than just mindless robots. It improves the overall gameplay progression involved in settlement engagement, making milestones in development exciting and rewarding. Overall, unless you're the type of person that likes to micromanage very specific elements of design in your settlement, Sim Settlements will no doubt be a tremendous addition to your load order for the sake of additional content, progression, and less hassle when it comes to decorating, so you can spend less time micromanaging and more time playing. The next mod on this list is my personal favorite. Horizon is an overhaul mod that revamps combat, settlement building, perks, and even character progression. With this mod installed, the world is now unleveled, meaning that enemies like Deathclaws and Gunners are even more difficult to go head-to-head with. Resources overall are much more scarce. Meeting your needs in survival mode becomes much more difficult to deal with. Medical items are now significantly more rare, and diseases are not as easily cured. Settlement objects require more prerequisites and perks, and therefore become more meaningful milestones. Combat is much more intense, as you are now incentivized to protect yourself from injury instead of running in without a care in the world. It also means that each area in the game feels hugely different due to a change in difficulty from enemy to enemy. Resources that you could previously ignore become much more difficult and important to keep track of. In my opinion, this mod gives you more of a reason to interact with features in Fallout 4 that could previously be ignored, ultimately opening up many more doors in the potential progression of your playthrough. Horizon revamps Fallout 4 to be less monotonous and much more challenging. The experience of leveling with this mod ends up being much more rewarding because each stage of gameplay requires you to make smart choices and plan ahead. However, please keep in mind that if you already find the vanilla game challenging, I caution you in downloading Horizon. Horizon is for people that like difficulty and slow but rewarding progression. In other words, it's not for the faint of heart. That said, if you found Fallout 4 too shallow and the survival features too easy to deal with, you will love this mod. To be honest, I love this mod so much, I can't really see myself doing another playthrough without it installed. Another mod that mixes up gameplay is better locational damage. This mod adds a complex damage and bleed system into the game. Now, many enemies can receive one-kill headshots, but you can as well. Most vulnerable to this new feature are humanoids, with Deathclaws on the other hand not being able to be headshotted at all. This means that you're more vulnerable, and difficult enemies are even more challenging to defeat, requiring you to accurately assess risk before heading into combat. Accuracy is now significantly more meaningful since locational damage can make or break a battle. Understanding your enemy's weak points is essential to an effective combat strategy. Also included in this mod is a bleed system that gives combat an extra layer of tension, requiring you to either bide your time waiting for an enemy to slowly lose its hit points, or if you are the one wounded, it adds an incentive for you to rush in for the kill as you slowly take damage. Required to stop a bleed out is any type of bandage, many of which can be found on the inventory of enemy NPCs, or can be somewhat easily crafted at a chem station. Overall, this mod definitely adds a little bit more difficulty. However, it makes combat so much more fun and dynamic in my opinion. As a person who was never much a fan of VATS, Bullet Time is a much appreciated addition to Fallout 4. Essentially, this mod replaces the slow selection screen of VATS with a slow motion free first-person camera usable for a short duration. Bullet Time is a great middle ground between people that want a faster and more seamless combat experience, but also don't want to forgo any VATS-related advantage from the game completely. Even though I don't often use this mod, I really appreciate how much time went into creating a special ability that fits in so well with the faster-paced gameplay in modern Fallout games. If VATS bored you, but you still want there to be a special ability you can access in combat, this is 100% the mod for you. Next, we have Full Dialogue Interface. This mod makes a much-needed UI change to Fallout 4's dialogue. It gives you several options for how to customize the dialogue tree to your liking. More importantly, however, it provides you with the word-for-word response your character will give when in dialogue. This makes picking the choice you want in a conversation just a little bit more clear. For people that want to have a better-looking dialogue screen and want the choices that they make to be less vague, this is worth giving an install. Overall, this mod doesn't make a massive change, but the tweaks that it does provide are an absolute necessity in my load order. Another essential mod is Start Me Up. This is a mod I just cannot live without at this point. Given how many additional characters I tend to make, especially because I'm often streaming Fallout 4 and constantly trying out new mods on my Twitch channel, this mod gives me so much relief whenever I choose to start a new game. No longer will you need to sit through the lengthy introduction portion of the game's prologue. This mod gives you the ability to skip ahead to the point when you wake up in the vault. But the benefits and possible starts to this mod don't stop there. It also gives you the ability to choose your character's background, starting location, and even special traits. In other words, if you want to make a character that was never associated with Sean or the pre-war world to begin with, you can do that. So for instance, you can start the game as a mercenary in Diamond City, or a merchant by Drumlin Diner, and many more possible beginnings. This mod will even change the dialogue options throughout many questlines to give you the opportunity to avoid talking about Sean as if he is your son. Basically, if you've already experienced the main story, you can avoid being associated with it altogether and still end up playing through all the side questlines. However, if you choose to start in a different location as a totally different character, you can still go back to the vault and start up the main story if you choose to. However, it is completely optional. As far as I'm concerned, there's almost no reason not to install this mod. If you enjoy the features that allow you to distance yourself from the predetermined character background you are given in Fallout 4, Silent Protagonist may be another great mod to install. Simply put, this mod makes the main character no longer voice acted. So if you want to believably disassociate your new character from the main storyline even more, or if you just find the main character's voice acting annoying, you can get rid of it completely. At this point, I almost always have this mod installed, especially because I've heard many of the responses so many times, I started to find them kind of grating. Next up, we have a visual mod called Def UI. This is the kind of mod you don't realize you can't play without until you use it. Streamlining the inventory and looting UI, This mod makes the life of Fallout addicts infinitely easier. At a glance, you'll be able to see an icon that corresponds to an item's category. This mod even gives you the ability to tweak the size of certain HUD elements if you choose to. Overall, the game looks much more aesthetically pleasing with this mod installed, and inventory management is much less obnoxious. Another small but very necessary mod is Armorsmith Extended. This mod basically allows you to wear all kinds of combinations of outfit pieces without them conflicting with each other. So now you can wear bandanas and helmets together, outfits can be worn under armor pieces, and it also provides the recipes for all of the armors in-game and a multitude of other little changes. This is the kind of mod where there's really no reason for you not to install it. It simply fixes up a bunch of little details regarding armors and outfits in the vanilla game that should have existed to begin with. If you like to play on survival mode, another absolutely necessary mod to install is called Survival Options. This mod gives you a huge amount of options to customize your settings for survival mode. For instance, it allows you to enable a save item if you dislike the fact that saving is omitted in the vanilla survival mode. It also gives you a bunch of other options to tweak, including the survival damage multiplier, how fast your hunger or thirst decreases, the ability to enable fast travel, or change up cell respawn times and combat settings. Since I play almost exclusively on survival mode, but can't stand the lack of save options in vanilla, this mod is an absolute must-have for me. If there was ever any little element of survival mode that you found irritating and that you wanted to change up, Survival Options probably has an answer to that. The next mod on this list is one of my all-time personal favorites. It's called Fallout 4 Seasons. Although Fallout 4's dried out and brown-tinted landscape may be a staple in the Fallout series lore, it nonetheless strikes me as bland and boring. Fallout 4 Seasons gives you 4 different choices for how you want to customize the landscape of your game, each version corresponding to a different season. So if you want to create a barren winter wonderland in Fallout 4, you can do that. Or if you want a very vibrant landscape with plenty of plants, you can go with the spring setting. My personal favorite version is the summer version because it gives off a vibrant vibe, adding green grass, leaves on trees, and a variety of bushes without going super overboard with the colors. However, if you want a setting that resembles the vanilla game most, but still would like a little bit more in the way of vegetation, I'd recommend the fall version. It adds leaves and grass, but the colors are much more muted. All in all, this mod may not change your gameplay, but it definitely makes a huge visual impact. Up next, we have Backpacks of the Commonwealth and Survivalist Go Bags. First up, Backpacks of the Commonwealth adds a good variety of backpacks to the Commonwealth, each with their own stat bonuses. Every backpack has a very distinctive design to it, fitting in well with the already established, quirky apocalypse aesthetic that Fallout has. Not only will this mod help you deal with managing your inventory weight in an immersive way, but it also gives you the experience of discovering fun new items throughout the Commonwealth. Another backpack mod I love is Survivalist Go Bags. This mod gives you a huge choice of different satchels, bags, backpacks to craft at a chem station. The main stat change on these backpacks is just additional carry weight. However, the model and texture work on these items is really excellent, and I rarely have a playthrough where I don't have one of these backpacks equipped on my character. Neither of these mods conflict with one another, so feel free to install both if you're looking for an immersive way to be a pack rat. Next up, we have a mod that will change settlement building forever. It's called Place Everywhere. This mod gives you the ability to place any settlement item in the red, or in other words, lets you build literally anywhere. For hardcore fans of settlement building, this mod is essential. It lets you customize your settlement exactly the way you want it to be, regardless of intersecting objects. Despite the terrific feature that this mod adds, be warned that it can sometimes lead to bugginess or stuttering if overused. It's worth trying out if you like the concept. However, just be aware that if your game performance starts to suffer, Build Everywhere could be the culprit. A mod that accomplishes the inverse of Build Everywhere is Scrap Everything. This mod lets you destroy nearly anything in a settlement, despite the ground itself. All trees, foundations, houses, and even dead bodies are now scrappable. This mod even provides a resource gain from scrapping these objects, like a lot of concrete from concrete foundations. Once again though, despite the powerful gameplay mechanic this mod adds, it almost always results in some bugginess for me. If used, it should probably be used sparingly, otherwise your performance may suffer and you may even experience visual bugs involving items popping in and out of existence. That said, for an avid settlement builder aware of the risk, this mod is one of the best out there. If you're looking for a lighter and more performance-friendly version of this mod that just gets rid of dead bodies littering your settlement, give Scrap Dead Things a try. Next, we have Reverb and Ambience Overhaul. This mod makes the overall ambient experience much more immersive and often, in combat, much more intense. The reverb of sound effects in open spaces with metallic structures is hugely different from the way that sound interacts within a wooden shack. Additionally, caves will sound much more creepy, and the wasteland's various swamps, fields, and forests have much more dynamic ambient sound effects. Here are a couple examples. If you don't want your immersion to stop at visual or gameplay elements, you'll need to give this mod a try. Another great audio mod is Toby's Realistic Firearms. This mod really increases the intensity and pop of gun sound effects, adding a lot to firefights. Here are a couple examples. As you can see, the improvements to the sound really makes a big impact on the intensity of the atmosphere. Overall, if you want guns, grenades, and all other combat sounds to be more satisfying, you need to give this mod a try. Another mod worth trying is Campsite. Put simply, this mod gives you a variety of camping items that can be used almost anywhere in the world. This includes things like sleeping bags, tents, cooking pots, campfires, and so on. Most of the included items can even be used as settlement items if you choose. However, the aesthetic value of this mod isn't why I included it into the list. Since the mod adds things like sleeping bags and cooking pots, it allows you to set up an area to craft food items or sleep and save in survival mode. This means you no longer have to rely so heavily on building settlements to sleep at if you don't want to. For instance, if you choose not to install survival options, or you just like to keep the sleep to save feature, this mod will make a huge difference in your gameplay. The next mod on this list isn't exactly something that will change your entire gameplay experience. A bundle of tape just happens to be my very favorite weapon mod ever. And I think for those of you looking for more weapons to discover and try out, this mod will really do it for you. A bundle of tape adds a handful of weapons into the game. Some pistols, some rifles, some that can become both. One thing you'll notice off the bat is that this mod has really excellent model and texture work overall, with each weapon looking both unique and like it belonged in the game to begin with. Most of the guns added are discoverable in-game, and some even spawn on enemy NPCs. The weapons are even customizable at weapon workbenches to fit any kind of combat style you use. There are also a variety of visual features you can change yourself. If you're fond of variety and you're looking for additional weapons to play around with, you'll love what this mod brings to the table. Last but not least on this mod list is another mod that won't change your entire game, but it is absolutely worth giving a try, because I feel what it adds is so high quality, it's way too hard to keep it from this list. The Mercenary Armor Pack is probably the best armor mod I've ever seen released for Fallout 4. It adds a massive amount of armors for a whole host of different levels and possible character designs. Another thing that's really neat about this mod is that it actually varies up the appearance of the gunners to have more variety in the way in which they are dressed. This makes the added challenge of facing them worth it for the higher level gear that they drop. One of the best things about the Rebel Armor Pack is that there are plenty of designs for any character, and all of the outfits included are of the very best texture and modeling quality. If you're looking to make a fashion statement, or you just want more variety on your enemies, I highly recommend this mod. That about wraps it up. I hope that you found at least 1 or 2 mods to try out from this mod list. If you enjoyed this video but you're looking for more mods to install for Fallout 4, I have several suggestions. If you want more settlement mod recommendations, make sure to check out my video on the best settlement mods out there. Or if you're looking for more enhancements to combat, you can also check out my video on how to improve overall combat experience in Fallout 4. And lastly, if you want survivalism or immersion related mods, you can check out my survivalism mods in Fallout 4 video. All of the mods included in this video and the additional compilations I mentioned you can find in the description. And please make sure to endorse any mod that you download and enjoy. Also, if you want more mod compilations altogether, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.